Pulling back from all of the craziness of these days of preparation for Christmas and about conspiring together to do something different. You're going to have to skip over the video and go to the next couple slides. Thanks. So we've been trying to make Christmas meaningful again. We've been thinking about plotting and doing Christmas a little bit differently. We started by thinking about how we can spend less. Now somebody said, Pastor, you should have preached that sermon back in July, because that's when I start my Christmas shopping. But perhaps it is a reminder for us all that in the midst of this consumeristic culture, that we need to reorient our lives away from all of the stuff that fills our homes. And let me say very clearly that I need continually that reminder to pull away from that idea that more things doesn't always mean more happiness. Intentionally, we've been thinking about spending less in order that, and so that we might give more. And let me say real clearly to you that I am so proud to be your pastor, that this small little congregation in Norwalk, Iowa, can help adopt 5 different families. We started with 2. We said maybe we'll be able to fill 2 families' wish lists for Christmas. Children in the Norwalk School District who wouldn't necessarily have some gifts underneath their family Christmas tree. And after the Sunday right after Thanksgiving, which, let's be honest, not a lot of us were here on that Sunday, and there was snow too, which really impacted things, we were able to, after that Sunday, say, we can take 2 more. And then there was a request to say, can you take another one? And we said, yeah, we think we can. And I'm just tickled. I really am. By your generosity to say, yeah, we can help. Yeah, we can wrap up some gifts. We can place them back there. And you've been able to adopt 5 different families to help provide a Christmas in right here in Norwalk. We've intentionally thought about spending less so that we can give more. Today, we want to pull ourselves in a different direction and think about worshiping fully. That in the midst of all of the distractions of December, that we need to reorient ourselves again to what our purpose is and what our identity is. That our hope is found in the Lord, and that we come here to this place to worship and to worship fully, and that our worship that isn't just confined to an hour on a Sunday, but that our whole lives become an act of worship. There's just a quick, you got the audio back up, there's just a quick little illustration, about 45 seconds of video that helps illustrate all of this. Go ahead. Lost our focus, perhaps, on what Christmas is really all about. And so in these 4 weeks, we're trying to reorient ourselves to what Christmas really is and to make Christmas meaningful again. On Tuesday of this week, somebody named, we'll call him Pastor Sam, had a really busy Tuesday evening with basketball practice for his son, and then a couple different trips to swim practice for his kids to drop off and to pick up. And in the midst of all of the craziness of Tuesday evening, when Pastor Sam got down to where he normally places his wallet in the morning, Pastor Sam realized that his wallet wasn't there. Some of you have had that experience. You say, wait a second, it's not where it's supposed to be. I know, it must have been left in the car, except that Pastor Sam got to the car and said, it's not there. Pastor Sam went upstairs to his bedroom and shuffled through some of the clothes that he had worn the night before and just could not find his wallet. This meant that Pastor Sam's Wednesday was destroyed. You've had these days, haven't you? When perhaps something's been misplaced and you just don't know what to do or how you will respond. Pastor Sam started by retracing his steps and started by calling several of the different places that he had been on that Tuesday night. In fact, got back into the office and thought, wait, could it be in the desk drawer? No, it's not there. Called the school where basketball practice was and talked to the administrator, and they said, I'm sorry, we have not seen your wall, but we'll take your name. My name's Pastor Sam. And what's your phone number? Can you describe it? And have not seen it. Called the place where the kids swim. And talked to 3 different offices, the admissions office and the maintenance office and the general messaging system, and they said, no, I'm sorry, we have not seen that wallet, but leave us your name. My name's Pastor Sam. And your phone number and a little description. That pastor then called the police department and said, has anybody by chance dropped off a wallet? Certainly this town would have just out of the goodness of their own hearts just turned it in to somebody. And then what Pastor Sam did was started to figure out, has there been anything silly in the bank account? Has there been anything silly on the credit card side? Is there something silly going on? No, there's nothing silly going on. Pastor Sam then had a lunch with a recently retired priest in town, and got to that lunch, realizing that Pastor Sam didn't have any money with him, said to... You've had that experience with me too. Do I still owe you? I may still owe you. Pastor Sam talked to the recently retired priest in town and said, it's so wonderful to see you for lunch. Here's the deal. Pastor Sam has lost his wallet. And the recently retired priest said, I guess lunch is on me. Got back to the office a little bit later, and Pastor Sam started calling those companies and trying to figure out how in the world do we replace and do we cancel, and what's the process for getting a new driver's license? What in the world would you do? Until the whole day was just absolutely shot. Nothing that was supposed to get done was supposed to get done. All kinds of anxiety, all kinds of frustration, all kinds of anger Pastor Sam felt. Pastor Sam didn't know what to do until on Thursday morning, Pastor Sam went to his garage and picked up some boxes that he was gonna flatten and put in the recycle bin, and somehow, somewhere, that wallet was in Pastor Sam's boxes in the garage. This is a Christmas miracle. Pastor Sam, on that Wednesday, lost, in some sense, a sense of identity. Couldn't prove who he was. Lost an ability to function. Couldn't purchase lunch. And in fact, Pastor Sam got a notification from his online giving account that said, hey, we noticed that your card has been declined from what you normally give to your church. So can you help us out? Mike, we'll make you whole soon, I promise. but had lost an ability to share as well. And I wonder if some of you, in the midst of this Advent season, this season of preparation, that you have, in the midst of all of the craziness of December, have you forgotten who you are? And that you have maybe even been so overwhelmed with all of the duties, of all of the requirements of December, that you and I perhaps have maybe even just clammed up and said, I can't do it. It's too much. I can't do it. How in the world could I possibly help someone else? How in the world could I possibly do anything? Just put me in front of a good Christmas movie and a mug of hot cocoa. Let me ask you 3 questions as we think about on this third Sunday in Advent. Let me ask you 3 questions. What is your identity this Advent? Where do you find your identity? Reminded that Paul writes to his church in Corinth these wonderful words that this promise of assurance. Paul writes, I have a house not made with hands, eternal in the heavens. Paul knows of a deep and abiding love, of a deep and abiding promise that no matter what, the tents of this world pale in comparison to the house, to the permanent residence, not made with hands, eternal in the heavens. Where are you grounded these days of busyness and craziness and to-do lists? Wherever you are and however you are approaching these days of preparation towards Christmas, know of your salvation, assured for us not through anything that we have done, but because of what God has done for us in Jesus Christ. You and I have a house not made with hands, but that it is a permanent dwelling place, eternal in the heavens. What is your identity this Advent? Second, what is your purpose this Advent? In the midst of these crazy days, many of us are just existing to get through. And to get to the next day, and then the next day, and then somehow, maybe soon, it will all be over, and we can go back to our regular lives. What are you existing for? What is your purpose this Advent? Jesus says in Mark that we ought to love God and to love others. I know that it gets confusing, especially around these days. It gets confusing about what we ought to be doing. And especially as a church, it gets confusing about what we ought to be doing because there's just so much to have happen. It's pretty clear that as followers of Christ, we are to love God and we are to love others. Love God and love others. It's pretty simple. Rather than all of the craziness of these days. And second, or thirdly, this, what is your intention this Advent? If we ask, what is our identity? Secondly, we ask, what is your purpose? Third, what is your intention? What are you and how are you intending to live this Advent? I have, in a lot of ways, gotten pretty crabby and pretty short and sometimes just pretty angry about all the stuff that has to happen. Paul writes in Romans, may the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in Him. I have, in a lot of ways, placed my trust in all kinds of the wrong things. I wonder if perhaps some of you have too placed your trust in all kinds of the wrong things. Maybe, like me, you have lost your intention. You've forgotten about what you ought to be doing. And like me, have found your way into just being sometimes pretty nasty to people. Paul writes, may the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in Him. If you haven't figured out, Pastor Sam is named Pastor Nate, and and for a day, I was just so confused, And I am reminded again and again and again of the graciousness of kind and tender people in my life who can draw me back and who can pull me back and who can encourage me. Who are the people in your life that you need to turn to in the midst of these crazy days? We got a week left. Sorry to raise the anxiety level. We got a week left. Where are you grounded? What will you be about? What is your purpose and how will you live that out in these last days of preparation for Christmas? I am reminded of this wonderful turn of phrase. You are a baptized child of God. Remember that you are that. And whatever else it is that you are, that is the basis of whatever it is that you are. One more time for the kids in the back. You are a baptized child of God. Remember that you are that. For whatever else it is that you are, that is the basis of whatever it is that you are. We have the opportunity to worship a God who gives us identity and who calls us to something different. We have the opportunity today to receive Christ in a very tangible and concrete way. I never lose track of the fact that Bethlehem, the place in which Jesus was born, is known as the house of bread. That town was, in a lot of ways, the place where the bakers would bake their bread, and then just 4 or so miles south of Jerusalem would take their bread up to Jerusalem to be sold in the marketplaces. It was that place that fed that great city of Jerusalem. And it's in that town, that little town of Bethlehem, that the bread of the world is born. Today, we have this awesome opportunity to, upon receiving just a little piece of bread in your hands, that literally what you do is you make a manger and you receive Christ in the bread and wine of Holy Communion. You receive the promise of forgiveness of sins. You receive the promise of new life found for us in Jesus Christ. For where Christ is, there is forgiveness and life and salvation. You have the opportunity today to be reoriented in your life, wherever you are and from wherever you come from. You have the opportunity today to receive Christ, to be given a new identity and a new purpose and a new intention for these last days of preparation to receive Christ, God made flesh in the world. I invite you to stand as you are able.